Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the podcast series held in par with WiseAdvice 2.0. I'm Road Tractor Bihara Ganegoda, your host for the day. WiseAdvice, an initiative by the Road Track Club of the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo, is a project aimed at providing youngsters the necessary knowledge and advice to move forward in the field of science. This year, WiseAdvice is organized for the second consecutive time in collaboration with the Interact Clubs of Ananda College, Gautami Balika Vidyalaya, Mahanama College, St. Peter's College, Vihara Mahadevi Balika Vidyalaya, and Visakha Vidyalaya. Today, we are going to focus on the ins and outs of how science-based education benefits higher studies. And for this, we have a very special guest with us today. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you Mr. Fadil Iqbal. Mr. Fadil is a proud product of the University of Colombo. He completed his degree in physics from the University of Colombo in 2016 and is currently following a Master's of Science in Physics at Purdue University in Indiana. He was a founding member of the Gavel Club of the University of Colombo and the vice captain of the university rowing team. He also maintains the YouTube channel IQ Labs, which has gained over 60,000 subscribers and more than 3 million views. So, without further ado, let's meet this colorful gentleman. Sir, we warmly welcome you to the first episode of WiseAdvice 2.0. So, to begin today's episode, let's focus on yourself a bit. First of all, could you tell us a bit about yourself? Like, who is Fadil Iqbal and how did your school and university days shape you to become the person you are today? And how did your extracurricular activities shape you to become this colorful individual that we know as Fadil Iqbal?
Thank you so much, Bihara, and the Road Track Club for this kind introduction and for organizing this. I'm deeply honored that you picked me and said nice things about me. To be honest, I'm basically, if not for my parents, I wouldn't be here, to be honest. My mom and dad played a significant role in my life, to be honest. And it's my hard work. It has nothing to do with it. It's mostly the privileges I got as a child. My mom is a professor in chemistry, and my father is an associate professor in botany, plant biology. So from a very young age, I always had a very good exposure to science compared to other kids. And I didn't, not that it was a luxurious life, but I was always exposed to knowledge, and they always encouraged me to sort of think and look at different angles. And I think that played a significant role. I'm very thankful for my schools. I went to 3 schools. First was President's College, Rajagiri, and then the other one, St. Thomas's Prep, Kolpiti, and then St. Thomas's Mount Lavinia. So in each of these schools, I learned different things, and I can't forget one over the other. For example, from President's College, you have to understand, Bihara, like my family is like the second generation that speaks Sinhala. Do you understand? Because my grandfather, during Bandaranayaka's time, was a police officer. It was only during his time that they made the Sinhala only act, and he was a Tamil-speaking person. So then his children, my mother, started learning the language, and then I am here. So it's kind of funny, like how I'm making a YouTube channel in Sinhala, and that's been viewed by thousands of people. So it's really humbling and quite a turn of events, So it was in President's College that there was this wonderful teacher called Mr. Indika Pushpakumar. I'm very fond of him. Like he was my singular master. So it's almost like he made an effort to make sure that I would get a really good education. So yeah, and like going to President's College, what I learned was that it's not a posh, it's not a posh school, you know. It's a school where a lot of poor kids come, and I kind of understand how they think. And going to St. Thomas's, Colpiti, and Mount Lavinia, you experience a different set of people. These are like the richest people, you know, like you name me a company, that person's child is in that school. Like a president's children are in that school. The lawyers of the president's children are in that school. So you can see. So for me, you know, I guess the biggest lesson that I learned was that I learned how to handle these different societies. I can see the difference, you know, like I can see the I can see someone trying to be like them, and I can see the guys at the top are always they're not happy most of the time, you know, with everything they have. So I guess I study people as a like and it helps me sort of navigate where I am in society. So I guess those are the biggest lessons because I have this thing to talk to people and spend time with them and get to know them. So I guess that's my one of my characteristics. But I mean, the overall, you know, the schools helped them in many ways, and but yeah, I mean, I'm very thankful for all of them.
Indeed, sir, like that explains a lot, and it's actually very true. Like the exposure you get from both the societies, it's actually like I myself have experiences. So
It's two different Sri Lankas, you know. It's not the same
yeah,
Sri
it
Lanka.
is. It is. I have experienced that, and it's actually very helpful when you go into the society. So yeah. So my next question for you, sir, is as we all know, according to Asian culture, doing science is considered to be a peace day resistance. So did this apply to yourself? As in, like, out of all the available streams for higher studies, what made you choose science? Why science? It's a question that a lot of kids have, a lot of people have. Why science? What made you choose science as a subject?
I mean, good question. Like I said, for me, in 2010, thanks to my father, I got the chance to go to a science camp in Germany, right? So 2010 is like, you know, just after Sri Lanka recovered from a civil war, and there was a lot of hope, you know, in me. And I was young. I think I was like 16 or 17, I think. But now you can guess how old I am. But the so when I went to Germany, you know, it for me it was always this dream, like I want to make my country also like that someday. So that was you know, that thing. Or you know that Janashakti, I don't, some insurance song like හෙට දවසේ වීරයෝ පුංචි අපි තමයි ඒක මාර විදියට ඇඟේ වැදිලා තිබ්බා. So I don't know, I mean, I still believe in it. So for me, I was so exposed to how they have progressed due to science and research, and how they had an advantage over other things. And my main focus was, you know, if I were to do something, I want to contribute in this area, you know, to do a technological revolution, or, you know, to establish some good research facilities or some good companies. That has always been my dream, like since 2010, you know. So this is just I mean, it's 12 years gone, but, you know, I still think I'm getting closer, I guess. But you know, so so I always have, so what I advise people is, it's good to have a vision, like where you see something which no one else has seen before, and you pursue that. So it doesn't matter what I do, Bihara. You get it. Whether I became
Yeah.
whether I did a science degree or an engineering degree or a medical degree, it doesn't matter. The end product is that I want to accomplish this, to accomplish this cause. It is a cause that matters, not the effect. So that's how I usually think. So I mean, so I wanted to become like a material scientist, or like Iron Man, building stuff and all.
Yeah.
So I was interested in that because Sri Lanka seems to have a lot of good materials lying around and a lot of good stuff. So I was very much into that. And I, but I changed my field because after I came to uni, I didn't like chemistry that much. That's another story. But I mean, this is what I wanted to do, right? So initially, my first choice was obviously I thought maybe I can achieve this if I went to Morotua engineering. The second choice, okay, faculty of science. So only those two. I didn't apply to all the stuff in between. I thought maybe this was the best thing that can give me. I didn't I didn't fill all the boxes in the thing. I just did okay, this or that, because I felt this is where I had to go. And I mean, I don't see it as a loss because I'm still contributing to that cause. Even if I didn't go to any university, there'll be still something for me to do. So usually that's how I make a decision. Like why do I do it? And it's to do this. And okay, if I don't do this, I choose another route. And usually it's always been the best for me. I have never regretted third side. No, I just take it as it comes.
Okay.
So that's how I see things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on to the next question. As we all know and as we are all aware, science is a field that keeps updating every second, and it keeps advancing day by day. And it's very evident that the standards of science education and science as a whole in Sri Lanka is very much different to that of the rest of the world. So, sir, can we know what your thoughts are on these differences between the local and international standards of science, especially in terms of science education?
Okay. A good question, right? So let's I always think about this, right? What is best for Sri Lanka and what is best for the world? Now I'm comparing the US system versus ours, and what I feel is that ours is too good. If you don't, as in the standard is too high. You get my point? It's like
Yes.
like I teach these undergraduates here, okay, in the US, and they don't have any solid background and stuff like that. They just learn most of the things which you learn during A levels. They learn it during undergraduate, and so sometimes it's a hard decision, which is the best system. And I like then I ask the question: is it really necessary to teach so many things to everyone in Sri Lanka? You get it? It's like a lot.
Yeah.
The standard is, I mean, the undergrad, those who come with a Sri Lankan degree do really well, but it's just that, is it necessary? That's my question. Because for me personally, I think we need to reduce at least 2 years or 3 years of school in our education. Like 3 years of school, we just have to reduce it. Because I look at it at a different angle, because or we can do something else where school, like after O levels, where we award a diploma, which is equivalent to like maybe 2 years or 1 year of a university degree. And then the remaining 2 years or 3 years, they can cover it up in a university. Because I feel like the standard is really high. And we have to reduce it because it's the youth when they graduate, they are about what I think when I graduated, I was around 25 years old. So, but here they graduate much before that, like say in their 20s or 21. So I feel we need to reduce on the time spent for education and decide whether it's necessary or not. Because not everyone is going to be a scientist, not everyone is going to be an engineer. And there are other things, you can do with your life. And like the funny thing is like, I mean, even when it comes to like very important soft skills, like how to write an email, not many people know, right? And it's very important. So overall, my view is both US and all, sometimes I feel education is an unnecessary burden because, I mean, you have to, uh, for me, like I said, I'm from a very, I'm from a Muslim family, and I have very traditional uh, family-oriented values. Okay, so for me personally, like it would be nice if the youth were able to, finish their education, get married, and start a family, or even start a family and then start education. Make education easy but not so stressful. Like, I think of these things because I feel the family is more important for me. It's the foundation of any society, right? Any civilization. If you destroy that with unnecessary education and stuff like that, I feel like we're losing a lot. That's my humble opinion. So both of these countries, both of these education systems need to tone it down a bit, so that it encourages the youth to sort of take up responsibility, become adults. That's my humble opinion. So I mean, I hope this is an okay answer.
Yeah. All right, sir. Yeah, it explains a lot, sir. Okay. So moving on to the next question. Seeing your research mainly on exploring the DNA helix with physics, we know that you've authored and co-authored many research papers, such as a guide for single particle chromatin tracking in live cell nuclei, and also the texture analysis of ultrasound images of chronic kidney disease. So, Mr. Fadil, I suppose the viewers would like to learn a bit about these very interesting topics, and also your personal experiences or the experiences that you've come across in this area as a research scientist.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, let me talk about what I did in my undergraduate year. Well, because basically, I like to. I'm often an applied scientist. You're not a like if you ask any proper physicist, they might not consider me as a physics person, but I like the application of things, and I like the cross-disciplinary things where different fields combine. So I do have an interest towards computer science, an interest towards physics, towards biology. So, and I always wonder where I can merge them together and answer a problem, because sometimes a lot of biology or things related to medicine, they are at a limit now. I mean, they have come to a certain point where they need other fields to sort of intervene and expand it. So yeah, I mean, so imagine like the research we did in Colombo University was like, chronic kidney disease is a big problem, right, in Sri Lanka. And what my advice supervisor, Dr. Janaka Vansapura, what he thought was, if you can, because he's an expert with MRI images, and he kind of wanted to work with ultrasound images. What if there was a way where you can sort of detect using these ultrasound images, if you can see the progression of the disease and sort of detect it at an early stage. And doctors do this actually. They use they look and check the images. And this was the early stages of machine learning. Like now, so 2016, deep learning hasn't come to the world yet. And I mean, it was just, people were just talking about it. No one never knew the application. So this was one of those initial steps, to see if, you can train a computer program to sort of identify diseased versus non-diseased ultrasound images. I mean, interesting project. They accomplished some milestones and was able to get some collaborations with Philips India and all. So it was a nice project. So I like those things, because I always think maybe I can set up a company like that, or create some devices, get a patent or something. Because in my mind, I'm always thinking, man, how can I get dollars coming into Sri Lanka? That's usually how I think. But this I like this part of science as well. So for my PhD, of course, like I said, I wanted something multidisciplinary. So I mean, like I said, I did a physics. I studied physics, but I also studied a couple of other things like computer science and as well. So now what I'm doing is like 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 I'm studying stuff at a cellular level, in the nucleus of the cell. And if you notice, like the Nobel Prize in DNA, like how they discovered the double helix structure, was actually a biophysics discovery. All three of them were biophysicists. They had a good physics background. And this is the beauty of physics, is that we think, okay, this is not true or false, that like we believe that there is this beautiful mathematical architecture to the natural world. Like everything behaves like you can actually come up with a model and sort of predict things. This is just a belief we have. It's not a true or false statement. So this is what we try to pursue. We want to understand how the chromatin, the DNA is somehow it's a big structure, but it somehow folds in together to this small chromosome, right? And I'm studying the structure which is known as the chromatin, and want to know how this thing behaves, how this thing uh, folds together. Is there a way we can come up with a nice physical model? Because if you look at all the physics problems, it's always balls, pendulums, springs, if you recall. So I mean, we still think like that. It's still okay. It's a chromatin. Is it like a necklace? Is it like a set of springs? Yeah. And I use a lot of I use a lot of microscopy, like super resolution microscopy, to see how these things behave. That is the experimental side. Then another group comes up with a computational model. So that is another side. And we want to see, okay, which is more accurate, which is getting better. So that's usually how we look at things. I mean, like I said, I like these type of things because I'm exposed to different stuff, like from biology to computer science to computational science to physics. So I won't consider myself as a physicist, but I get to see different things, and I mean, I like that. I hope someday, I can, may at least use some of it to sort of convert it into a nice business or something, and set it up in Sri Lanka. That's my ultimate plan. But that's I'm still working on it. So yeah.
It's actually very interesting, sir, because so as biology students, physics is not our comfort zone. So it's it's really not. So like it's very interesting to hear all of this, how you can combine what, because when you think about bio, it's all about cells, and just we focus on the biological side of chromatins and the DNA and whatnot. But like it's very interesting, and I think it's a great eye opener to whoever is listening, because I don't think a lot of people are aware of this side of science, like how can merge the two subjects. It's very interesting. It's very nice. It really interested me a lot because physics is definitely
Thanks,
not my
thank you.
comfort zone. It's actually really nice. Um, so, so the next question, I think it's very important, especially for those who are about to start their higher education in the field of science. So, sir, what do you think about the future of science education in Sri Lanka? Like, what can how can science education benefit students if they decide to stay in Sri Lanka? And also, what do you think is the best plan of action for new undergraduates and enthusiasts? Like, how would it benefit their success, especially if they decide to stay in Sri Lanka? And what are the opportunities here as you see it?
Okay. I mean, so basically there's a new field called data science, right? Coming up. It's basically the merge of statistics, computer science, and biology. It's everything coming together, right? So, and like 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 our university is the ideal place for that. I mean, they should recognize that potential somehow. And so the future of science, in my opinion, is we need to sort of I mean, that's what I try my best to do in my IQ Labs videos. That is to show the application of things and then guide them where you can find it. you know uh, so like we don't have to, because now this is the information age, and you have access to information at your fingertips. Although people use it for silly things like TikTok and Instagram, uh, you have information at your fingertips, right? So uh, and you have books and a lot of things. So I mean, my vision is that science is still relevant, science education is still relevant, but we must sort of show applications, and so we must get to the application immediately. That's what I believe. And then that creates a spark in that person, and then that person goes all the way to learn it. Like like, do you know what the word education means? Like, it's a Greek word, comes from educe. Okay, the education, educe, means like you put, like imagine you're fishing, and you're putting a hook, and a fish comes and gets hooked onto it, just to hook. It's like a hook to pull out. And so far what we thought education was, that like it's like a cup and filling it. No, that's not the meaning of education. The meaning of education is where you like get the kid, like make the children come and just you hook them onto it. So that is what we need to understand, and we can actually do it now. So like teachers, university lecturers should sort of make knowledge very accessible and talk about what they're doing. Like University of Colombo should talk about the research, what they're doing, and in a very understandable way, and sort of show how the theories somehow combine together. And then for a child, they say like, wow, now I know why am I doing this. Like, so most of my IQ Labs videos, what I try to do is I show this is where you use this. Why, like they always ask, right? Why am I learning this? This is why you are learning this. This is the application of it. And then I tell them, look, you can find it here. You can read about this here. This is this theory. This is that theory. Now go and find it. Like I don't care how much of marks you got for your exam. You figure it out on your own now. But this is where the application. And and also like I always tell them, this is what I know so far. You go and figure out the rest. This is where my knowledge ends. You go figure it out. So that I think that is, it makes a world of a difference, right, to a child when you show the world to them like that. So like I said, um, fields should merge. I mean, we can even help people from economics. I mean, if you look at now, this is an economic crisis, right? So we need to intervene. Like we need to talk to people from the economic side, and some applied mathematicians, some statisticians, and come up with talk together and figure stuff out. I mean, science is very relevant, right? A couple of months ago, it was a pandemic was the problem, right? They're right. Then you need to, then what? The people from the zoo department or immunology department, they also come. Even physics people, they are good at building models, like physical models and mathematical models. All those stuff come. But we must show how you can use these knowledges, this knowledge. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say about education. I mean, that's something I'm very passionate about. But I hope this answers the question. Like, it's we must show the application. Yeah.
So this is like a personal question I asked myself before coming to the university. There is a norm, especially in the Sri Lankan society, that either you should be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. Like, this is a very common norm. But there are points in life that we might not be able to go to medical college, go to the engineering faculty, go to law college. So I myself had that question I asked myself. So for people who have that issue, if they can't get into the medical college or the engineering faculty what they want, and if they decide to come in to the University of Colombo or any other science faculty in that sense, what should their thought process be like? What should they focus on? As in, yeah.
I mean, let's put medicine aside. If you look at most of the engineering graduates, are they all doing engineering? No, right? Not all of them are doing engineering. Some actually decide to go for teaching. Some decide to enter the corporate world. They do management stuff. Some decide to pursue the IT sector. And those jobs you can also get from a science degree as well. Like so at the end of the day, those who do engineering, at the end of the day, it's a significant amount, but not everyone who gets an engineering degree ends up being an engineer. Now, unfortunately, for those who do medicine, they can't do that because they can't change their field. So they're stuck. I mean, you should think of it as a blessing that you're not doing medicine, because they can't go to any other field. I mean, they might do teaching, because people like to go to a tuition master who has an MBBS degree. Still, there are people who do tuition who have MBBS degrees, right? So, but like a job in the corporate world or anything, they can't do that. So for me, seriously, like, if I was to talk to bioscience students, like, you should be thankful that you didn't get selected to medicine, because you're not limited, right? You're not limited. Now you can change paths. Like we need to get rid of the mindset that mama මේක ඉගෙන ගත්තා ඒ හින්දා මම මේක දිගටම කරන්න ඕනේ කියන එක. We must get rid of that, because we don't know what the future is going to be. It's changing really fast now, right? Look, we went through a pandemic like last year. Now an economic crisis. I don't know what next year is going to be. And man, it's like whoa. Hold on. Too much, man. Too much. But still, we are batting. We are somehow playing the innings. But the world is changing really fast, and so don't limit yourself saying mama මේක ඉගෙන ගත්තා ඒ හින්දා මම මේක දිගටම කරන්න ඕනේ. Like if you look at most of the people who started businesses and all, they did have a strong foundation in either engineering or science, but later what did they do? They use that skill set and applied it to a different problem, right? So we must be flexible in that sense, like a bioscience person should be okay to do some programming, to be a strong physical science background, should be okay to handle with other stuff, like bioscience related, economics related, political science related. We must marketing related. We must get our hands dirty. So yeah, seriously, it's a really big thing that you're not doing medicine because you're not limited at the end of the day.
That explains a lot, sir. So moving on to the next question. So of course, science undergraduates have both the options of continuing in their relative field of research or joining an industry of their choice. So as we know, science is like a vast accumulation of many different areas, and you yourself, you have worked as an R&D executive at RCS2 before pursuing your passion. So my question, Mr. Fadil, is with the modern advancements and the demands in the job market, what do you think are the best subjects and areas in science that one should follow in order to succeed? And do you have any professional qualifications that you would wholeheartedly recommend that would benefit the students in whatever the job or the field that they want to pursue in life?
It's a tough question. For me personally, for me, with the greatest difficulty only, I finished my undergraduate degree. So doing another degree or another program was like too much. I'm like, no, I can't. I don't want to study more. It's funny, honestly, I didn't want to. Initially, I didn't want to pursue a PhD. To be honest, I really towards the last stages of my university career, I told my mom, look, I don't want to do this. This is not for me. I'm done. I did like research, but I felt I'm not good enough for it. But so I decided to, look what the corporate world looks like. And, to be honest, it is not about what sort of skills or like the qualifications, to be honest, in my personal opinion. Okay, I sometimes make fun of my friends who do a lot of other extra qualification, but but for me personally, it's mainly about the connections you can make, how you brand yourself and talk to people. For me, that is the most important thing, to be honest. So because at the end of the day, a skill is something you can actually acquire on the job or over time, but connections are something it takes time to build, right? So for example, out of 100 out of 1,000 people, I know you from my batch, from your batch, at a very personal level because of what you're doing right now. Yeah. And similarly, my advice to people is, especially if they're in universities, start some stuff, do something, start something together, work with people. And don't do it for the sake of filling your CV. Do it so that it helps you see the world, establish connections. I think that is important. Like for example, like I was part of Gavel. I mean, we literally started the club. There wasn't a club. And when you start things, you get to meet different people. You sometimes get to talk to the lecturer at a personal level. You talk to sometimes you approach Toastmasters at a very personal level. These are very high profile people, some are CEOs of companies and stuff like that. So, if I wanted to, I could have said, hey, I'm looking for a place to work. And they would be most willing, right? Because they trust you. They know you, right? Think of it. People might say connections is unfair, but the world we are living right now, Bihar, almost anyone can get a qualification now, right? It can, not to discredit it, Like you
Yeah.
can acquire skills, right? And sometimes like YouTube lecturers are more effective than your university professors, right? I mean, to be honest, I most of mine uh, was like that. So so you're in the information age, Vihara. Don't play with the rules that your parents played with doing a qualifications thing. This now the rules are different. So now it's about establishing connections, talking to people, branding yourself. So that is my advice to people. Don't waste your time doing a degree. I would say do something, like get together. Like sometimes people email me saying, hey, I have this problem with I want to do this research project. Can you help me out? And this is just personal interest, from students, school students, and I connect them with some professors I know, or some one of my colleagues I know, and then they work together with them. I mean, sometimes it succeeds, sometimes it not. But the effort they took to establish a connection, that is valuable, right? In the long term. So I don't know. So like I said, do something, man. When in your university, it's a really nice time. Go out there, organize events, talk to big people, get to know them at a personal level. That's how you should play this role. I don't know. I don't know how the game is going to be in the next generation, but these are the rules now. So connections are very important. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't answer your question, but I gave a different
Yeah, no, it's actually
different
very useful.
perspective.
Like it is, it actually makes a lot of sense, because some people think like when you come to the university, it's just academics. You have to excel in your academics, and that's it. But this explains a lot. And like when you think about the future ahead of you, I think more than academics, it's how you handle yourself, how you how you interact with people. And what you said is actually true. Like it actually helps a lot. For me personally, I get myself involved in quite a few things in the university, and it has actually helped me to be a better person, to handle myself better. So it actually makes a lot of sense. So yeah. The next question is, so now, especially in our university, in the University of Colombo, for us, for university students, we are given the opportunity to choose between research-oriented degrees and also industry-oriented degrees. So how do these two degrees differ from one another? And what are the factors that we should consider before deciding which one to choose out of the two?
Okay. So my personal opinion is that depends on what you want at the end of the day. Okay, I can't decide that for you. If you want to pursue, say, you like the discovery of knowledge, the new knowledge, and you want to pursue higher studies, further studies, like a postgraduate studies, like a doctor of philosophy or a PhD or a master's or something, and like do research and perhaps end up in academia, or then work in a research oriented place, or maybe somewhere else, then yeah, doing a research thing is a good idea. But you have to have the passion, because research is not easy. Like it's like a marathon, it's not a sprint, because you get stuck, you sometimes you're confused. I mean, it's very frustrating, and it's hard. You have to be very patient and stuff like that. And uh, I think it's a big sacrifice you're making in your life, because the salary isn't that. It's okay to live, but it's not that great. Whereas someone who's pursuing an industry thing, if he wants to make, if he or she wants to make big money and go up the corporate ladder, then go for that option. That's fine. But this is for those who have this desire, this curiosity to look for new knowledge and stuff like that. So there's risk, cost, and benefits in both cases. Say you pursue this research oriented thing and you don't like it, and you decide, okay, I want to go to the corporate world. That's also fine. You can still do that. You're still valuable to the corporate world. Say you pursued an industry oriented thing and you said, nah, I'm done, I'm bored, I don't want this corporate environment anymore, I want to switch something else. That's also possible. People have done that. Sometimes you can follow some courses and pick up some stuff, or do a master's in Sri Lanka or somewhere else, and then later you can go to a research oriented side. That's fine. But the ultimate question is, what do you really want, and why do you want it? If you figure out those two questions, I think things will be much easy. In the sense, deciding what to do will be much easy. And don't think like this is make a prestige එක වැඩි, make a පිළිගැනීම වැඩි, make a කරොත් එහෙම එකක් නෑ දැන් ඇත්තම බැලුවොත්. Because nobody cares at the end of the day where you get it or what you did. Like that prestige thing is something our parents' generation believed in, and it worked for them. Yeah, but now the rules have changed, so it's a different world we are in. So yeah, I mean, just ask yourself what you really want from life and why you want it, and then make that decision. Don't do it හැමෝම කරන හින්දා මේක ගන්න එපා. That's what you want to do, and take it up. And if you don't like it a few months or something, that's fine. It happens. But at least you made the decision because you actually wanted it, right? You didn't waste, and you didn't නිකන් අර කාසිය කුඩ දාලා ගත්තේ නෑනේ. You took a proper decision. Yeah.
Okay, sir. So on an ending note, sir, it's fair to say that you had quite a Colombo University experience. So what advice do you have for our listeners, especially for our undergraduates and those who are about to start their higher education?
I mean, I guess a few advice. My main advice would be, a university is a universe of knowledge, right? You come across people from different walks of life. You need to, I mean, some people come and they only hang out with the school friends, or like Colombo only friends, or people who speak English in a certain way. They hang out with that. I mean, personally, for you to get the best out of the experience, you need to associate with different people, different cultures. I mean, thankfully for me, because I'm Muslim, for me, we can manage 3 languages at a relatively better level than Sinhalese people. So we have different friends from different backgrounds. So, and I challenge you guys to make an effort to have friends from different backgrounds, different languages, different districts, and just talk to them and just get to know them. You won't get that chance, like those days when I'm just talking to one of my friends and saying, like, man, we used to talk for hours in the canteen, in the open canteen, and those are things, man. Those are things you need to enjoy in life. And because of Gabble and the activities I do, I have friends from different parts of the country, and it's a very humbling feeling, to be honest, to get to know them. But I guess this brings back to my where we started off. Like I'm so used to seeing different classes of societies. I always observe people from a distance, and it's a very humbling feeling, the talking to them and getting to know them. It's better to hang out with people who disagree with you, have different opinions and all. So that's why I do enjoy that. I do enjoy that intellectual discussion and stuff like that. And of course, you'll come across people you don't like, you disagree with. That's fine. It's all learning, right? We have to learn, otherwise we don't know. So I think it's the connections that plays a thing. And also during your university career, think of starting something. Like to be honest, like 2017, perhaps maybe 2016, in my fourth year only, I wanted to make IQ Labs, like a YouTube channel for, like, I wanted to make the Khan Academy. If you have heard of Khan Academy, so I wanted
Yes.
to make the Sinhala version of that. And it was a new idea back then, right? And So I had a small set of friends, a set of team, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know whether you can make this into a business, stuff like that. My ideas failed. I failed. But I wouldn't know, right, if I didn't try. So, 2018, like many years later, I gave up. So I gave up on IQ Labs long time ago, and when I was about to leave to the US, my dad was like, "Hey, aren't you going to make YouTube videos there?" I'm like, "No, Dad, it's a useless idea," because after that, because before that, I was into cycling. I used to cycle a lot in Sri Lanka, like cycle around the country on a foot cycle on the coastal belt, and that was my passion. I wanted to become, like, promote tourism in Sri Lanka, and bring tourists and show them, like, you can cycle in Sri Lanka. But when I came to the US, cycling wasn't a big thing here. It's very boring compared to Sri Lanka, and I gave up on that. My bike got stolen, and but then my dad told me to take my graphics tablet. I still have this. I still have this. So he told me to take this with me, and I just Shapeake just started making some math videos, and the pandemic came, and I guess the rest is just history.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, you start something, you fail, you start something else, and it might fail. It's okay. I had a good run. I enjoyed. Now I don't even care how much this has reached, and it's crazy. Like how, uh, like for me, I don't get to see people who watch my videos, right? For me, I just put it up. But sometimes, occasionally, when I meet them in person and all, it's very humbling to see that this has benefited them a lot. And yeah, it's just simple things, right? Which you can do, anyone can do. So yeah, try stuff, do something with that time you're in.
I think it's great advice coming from you, sir, because a lot of people are scared of failure and they don't even give it a try because they think that failure is bad. So it's great advice coming from you, sir.
Don't worry. I'm also scared of failure, but I'm very scared of failure. No, man, look at me, look at my story. Like 2010, can I really do that? Hopefully, in the next couple of years, can I really set up that thing in Sri Lanka? Can I do that? I don't know. I keep asking these things every time I go to bed. But so yeah, but if I fail, I always ask myself, why did I do this? And if I did it for something greater than me, I have no regrets then. Because like I said, it always comes down to why you did it. The outcome it's irrelevant. Because for us Muslims, we have a strong belief that Allah or God does not look at your result. He looks at the intention, the effort you made. So I So I know the effort, the sincerity, the intention why I'm doing things, and whether it succeeds or not is a different matter. It's not up to me to decide. Yeah, I mean, I do think, like sometimes people say, oh, you're a failure, you started this, but it's okay, man. I mean, when I look back, if I didn't do anything at all, you wouldn't even talk to me. You wouldn't even send me an invitation, right, for this conversation. So it was never a loss. It was never a waste.
Very true, sir. So, and with that, sir, we have come to the end of today's episode. Thank you very much, sir. The session was indeed very informative. It was very instructive and very interesting. I learned a lot, and I'm sure all our listeners, all our viewers, there's a lot to learn from you, and I'm sure all your advice would help all of us build up our future. And it was a great privilege and pleasure to have you with us, and we really appreciate your time and commitment and your words of wisdom. And I'm sure that everyone has a lot to learn from you. And I would like to express our gratitude on behalf of the Rotary Club of the Faculty of Science, University of Colombo, and all our participants who joined us here today. And we wish you all the very best with all your future endeavors. And a special thank goes out to our listeners who joined us. Hope you gained something out of today's episode, and stay tuned as we are ready to bring you more insights on this field of science to broaden your knowledge. So until then, thank you once again. Stay safe and have a good day.
Thank you so much, Bihara. It was wonderful talking to you. You did a fantastic job. And thank you everyone else for inviting me and organizing this event. All the best, everyone, and make the best out of the opportunities you have. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Goodbye.